Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Victor of Cars Jubilee back in our Ioniq 5, and today we're talking about the matte paint finish for my Ioniq 5. So let's get to it. So one question that I've seen come up pretty frequently in all the different forums is people asking, should they buy an Ioniq 5 in the matte paint finish? Now here in the US for 2022, we only had one matte paint option, and that was this one, the Shooting Star Gray. But for 2023, Hyundai's released Gravity Gold in the US. Really excited to see that, but now that means we have two matte paint options. So for a lot of people, this matte paint car could be their very first one. And then there's the fact that maybe the dealership's offering it to them and saying, hey, if you don't take this one, I don't have another allocation for another couple of months. So then they're thinking, take the matte paint or wait. And truth be told, I was actually in a similar predicament when I was buying my Ioniq 5 back in February of 2022. So here's a little backstory as to why I ended up buying a matte paint Ioniq 5. If you want to skip ahead to how the paint is actually held up, feel free. But for everyone else, this is the reason why I actually ended up in an Ioniq 5 Shooting Star Gray matte paint when originally I wasn't planning to. So back in January, after test driving, I knew I wanted a limited trim car with the light gray interior. I didn't really care about the exterior color too much, but I just knew I wanted a light interior because it felt brighter, it felt bigger, and that's what I wanted. So I started calling all the dealers within a 2-hour search radius asking if they had any limiteds and if they were selling at MSRP. And pretty much every dealer that I called said they don't have any. They also don't do wait lists. They also don't do deposits. So it's pretty much first come, first serve. And so I left my name with a couple of the dealerships. And eventually I got a call back, I think late January. One of the dealers said that they had a cyber gray limited trim coming in with the light interior. And I said, oh, perfect. That matches exactly what I want. And then he said, again, we don't take deposits. We don't have a wait list. It's first come, first serve. However, if you just get here the day after it arrives, I think you should be good because it takes us about a day to get the car prepped for sale anyways. So then I wait the 2-3 weeks. I'm tracking the car constantly. And then as soon as I see that it's been delivered, I call the sales guy and he says, let me check on that. Well, then he calls me back and says, sorry, man, it sold last night. It actually arrived last night. One of the other sales guys was there and sold it to someone locally who came and picked it up last night. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That was 3 weeks of my life. Obviously I was very disappointed, but I wasn't ready to give up yet. So then I widened my search parameters to about 3 to 4 hours, and I started calling all the dealerships out there, and then I stumbled on Hyundai 112. According to EV Finder, they were supposed to have at least one limited trim car on the lot. So I called them, and they said, no, we don't have one. We actually have 3. And we sell at MSRP. And I was like, what? I need one of those. So then I told them, yes, I definitely want one of those cars. What do you have? And they said, well, we have 2 Shooting Star Grays with the light interior / dark green interior. And then we have a Lucid Blue with the black interior. And we don't do deposits. It's first come, first serve. And I said, I can be there in about 3 days. Can you hold one for me? And they said, well, we don't typically hold cars for customers since it's first come, first serve. However, if by the end of the day tomorrow, there's still one here, we can make sure we hold it for you just so you're not driving up for no reason. And I said, that's perfect. The next 24 hours is just me trying to figure out which color car would I actually want. Would I want the matte paint color or would I want the blue with the black interior? And as I already said, I really prefer the light interior color. Just feels bigger and brighter, and that's what I want. But then also, I've never owned a blue car before. Now, I think the Ioniq 5 looks fabulous, awesome in every single color, including the blue. I've just never owned a blue car. Now, I do have a Genesis GV60. It's blue on the inside, but it's white on the outside. And I'm used to white, gray, silver, black cars. I know, kind of boring, but that's just the color palette that I'm used to. I jumped on the forums and I looked everywhere for matte paint care. What does this mean? What do I have to do to take care of it? And about half the internet says, go for it, do it, you'll be okay. The other half says, don't do it, stay away, it's the worst decision you'll ever make. So that didn't really help until I saw a comment on the forums, which was Ioniq 5 owners talking about matte paint care. And there was one owner in the UK who actually said, oh, I've had my gravity gold matte paint color car for months now, and I've been taking it through my local car wash without any issue. And based on that one comment alone, I thought, maybe I'll just go for the matte paint and see what happens. So by the end of the night, I decided, let's just go for the matte paint color because I want the light color interior. And actually, I think the matte paint color looks really cool. So I emailed the dealership and said, hey, please hold this one for me if you can. And they emailed me back and said, okay, we'll hold it for you. Then I went and picked it up. So that's the backstory. Now, how about the past 8 months? What has it actually been like to live with a matte paint car? Well, when I first bought it in February, there was a little bit of snow here and there. And after a couple weeks, there was some salt building up in the car, and I knew I had to get it washed. So I had to take it through the first car wash. Now, before I went, I called my local car wash and asked, hey, do you have matte paint cars that go through? Any issues? And they said, no, we use soft touch materials. We've had matte paint cars go through here pretty often without any complaints. So that gave me a little bit more confidence, but still, on that first time pulling through, my hands were shaking, maybe a little sweaty, and my heart was definitely pounding because I was worried, what if something happens? But anyways, I start pulling in, and then all of a sudden I'm putting it in neutral, and the car's blinking at me saying I got to press a certain button. I'm like, whoa, wait, what? Then it goes away, so I got to quickly put it back in drive, put it back in neutral, and then follow the prompts, all before the track starts pulling the car in. So make sure you know how to put your car in neutral. I have a video, check that out. But anyways, we go in, we get out. As soon as we get out, I jump out of the car, take a look at the paint, and everything looks fine. In fact, everything looks great. And then between February and about April, I start taking my car through the car wash about once every 2 to 3 weeks. There was one day in March that was actually warm, so we actually took out the Dr. Beasley's matte paint kit care and did the whole car. But at least for those first 2-3 months, I was just taking it through the regular car wash every 2 to 3 weeks. And then when we started getting warm weather in May, then I started actually doing hand washes. And I did that about, I want to say 4 to 5 times throughout the whole summer. I was thinking in my head, nah, I'm just going to hand wash this car for the entire summer. And then once it gets cold out, then I'll start taking through the automatic car wash. But life happens, you get busy, you get lazy. So like I said, since purchasing in February all the way until now in October, almost November, I've only hand washed this car probably 4 or 5 times, whereas I've taken it through the automatic car wash probably close to 10 times. And still, to my eye, the paint looks totally fine. I don't see any scratches, I don't see any damage. I feel like taking it through the car wash has not done anything bad to my paint. It still has a super smooth finish. Not like a normal matte finish that you would expect. This one feels like a satin finish, which is pretty much what everyone that owns one says. The Ioniq 5 matte paint feels silky smooth. Not like a traditional matte finish, but then also not like a traditional wax finish, which gets kind of sticky. This just stays smooth. Now, as I mentioned, we had road salt. I live in the northeastern section of the United States in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. So we get all 4 seasons here. So in the winter, we get a lot of snow, and that means road salt. And then in the spring, we get a lot of pollen. In the summer, it gets really hot. We get a lot of, bug splatter and bird poop. And in the fall, we just get a lot of rain. It's just not possible for me to hand wash throughout the year. And I knew that going in, so I definitely took that risk of hoping everything would be okay going through the automatic car washes. And locally, I did search. I don't have any touchless car wash options. All I really have is the one near me, which is a standard automatic car wash, but they do use soft touch materials. Just a couple notes. If you're going to be going through the automatic car wash, make sure you know how to put it in neutral. Check out my video if you haven't seen it. Make sure you know how to take off auto brake hold. Make sure you turn off the automatic wipers. Make sure you choose the soap and water option only. No wax goes on our matte paint cars. And then lastly, remember to use the matte paint kit provided by Dr. Beasley's that comes with our car already. You're supposed to use it, I think, every couple of months. And what I plan to do in the winter is just wash it at the automatic car wash and then use the kit back in my garage. A couple of things that I forgot to go over, which are just some common complaints, starting with number 1, water spots. For me, they actually wipe off really easily. I just use a damp cloth, wipe it, comes right off. Number 2 are greasy or oily, sticky residue or fingerprints. Well, use the kit that came with the car because that stuff works. The cleaner, you just put it on there, wipes everything right off. Number 3, bird poop. Same thing. Use the kit that came with the car and everything just wipes right off super easily. And these are actually things you would deal with on a wax finish too. It's not just the matte finish. You wouldn't want bird poop sitting on your wax finish or your matte finish for a long time. So honestly, you just kind of treat it the same. The only difference is you use a different type of cleaner. So in that sense, those common complaints I don't have an issue with. This car to me with this finish is really no different than a wax finish. I just use different types of cleaners. So should you get a matte paint colored Ioniq 5, EV6, or even GV60? Well, there is some risk to it, but honestly, for me, it's gone perfectly. And I'm really excited to eventually see a gravity gold one in person. That thing looks stunning. So do I regret getting the matte paint finish? No, not one bit. In fact, I absolutely love it. I'm so glad that I chose it. And I think a lot of you guys out there are going to love it as well. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And as always, please like and subscribe to support the channel if you like the video. And I'll see you guys on the next one.